Hi, in this example, we're going to use a finance formula to determine an amount of money after a certain number of years. The first step is always to determine the scenario. Here, we can see that we deposit $100 each month into an account earning 6% interest compounded monthly. So notice that we're not depositing $100 in the account once, we're depositing every month, so we're making multiple deposits. Or in other words, many deposits. In the Chapter 7 folder, you had a flowchart. So here's the flowchart, and the first thing it wants you to do on the far left is to determine the scenario. Notice we have one deposit, many withdrawals, or many payments. In this case, we're making a deposit. And in fact, because we're depositing every month, we are doing many deposits. And following the flowchart, this would be called an annuity. Moving to the right, this means I'm making deposits every time period, in this case, monthly. So here, moving to the right, I have two formulas. I have one for the total amount and one for the amount of each deposit. Because sometimes you want a certain amount of money in a certain number of years. Well, how much would you have to deposit every time period? So this is that formula. In this case, we will actually know how much we're depositing every month, and we just want to know how much we're going to have in the end. So this is the formula we'll use. So let's go ahead and transfer that formula over. The second step is, now that we know the scenario, we can go ahead and list the parameters. So here I always like to write like what I call an appendix. So I have D, N, R, and K. D is the number of, the amount of each deposit, which is $100. Part A says, how much will you have after the money's been in the account for 15 years? So that would be 15. The rate given is 6%. And it's compounded monthly because you're making deposits monthly, so K would be 12 because it would be 12 times a year. So if I go ahead and plug these parameters into the formula, I would get P sub 15, because it's for 15 years, equal to 100 times 1 plus R over K, so 0.06 over 12, to the NK, which was 15 times 12, because you're making 12 deposits a year, minus 1, all over R over K, which is 0.06 over 12. Now, we just use the formulas to get the answer. We're going to do, all the calculation will be in the calculator. So let's go ahead and put this in the calculator. And again, we're going to round to the nearest cent. So here it is, I put it in the calculator. The most important part of putting in the calculator is putting it in correctly. I encourage you to use an app called Desmos, but for the exams, if you're going to use a calculator, make sure you just use parentheses around your numerator and around your denominator. So here I would put a parenthesis here on the denominator and then here. So you could see parentheses around each numerator and denominator. And to the far right, we get $29,081.87. So after 15 years, the account will have $29,081.87. Let's do part B over here. So if this is the case, now let's go ahead and go to part B that says, how much total money would you put into the account? Well, remember that you're getting interest here. So the total deposits is just what you're putting in, right? And then you get a little extra for the interest. So you're making $100 per month of deposits. And you're making that 12 months per year for 15 years. So notice that if we use techniques from Chapter 5 these units would reduce out. And essentially you would have 100 times 12 times 15. So you only made $18,000 worth of deposits. But look, you actually have at the end of 15 years $29,000 and some change. So there is a big difference here. And that difference is part C. What is the total interest that you earned? Well, because your total deposits was only $18,000, but in the end you had $29,000, the interest earned is equal to piece of 15 minus total deposits. So this is a simple subtraction. So we'll take $29,081.87 and subtract $18,000. Right? And this would give you $11,000, $11,081.87 in interest. So that's pretty good interest that you made off this account.